Hey guys, welcome back to A Story with Rory. I'm your host. Tonight's episode is called The Bigfoot Encounter. So this was 2023, um, April 29th of 2023. Um, it was one evening around, I want to say it was around 7 p.m. And I started hearing all these tree knock sounds coming from behind the camper we were living in at the time. um, Little backstory behind that. I was actually doing since like 2019 or 2020. I've been doing tree knocks just once in a while, just for the heck of it, and didn't think too much about it. But started hearing these knocks, and so I told my wife, I was like, "Do you hear that?" And she's like, "Yeah, I hear that." And so I was like, "I have an idea." I told her, I was like, I'm gonna go grab my gun because I don't know what this thing is out here making these sounds or whatever. And she would grab her little wooden rod to start doing some tree knocks or whatever to try to communicate with this thing, whatever it was. So, anyways, she grabs her staff and starts banging on this tree, this big old cedar tree, and I go ahead and, get my gun and everything, walking out to where I can try to hear this sound where it's coming from. And I'm slowly just trying to listen to the sound, and I can barely hear it just because of the highway noise right by our house. Cars constantly go by, and the tire noise just drowns out most of the knocks I was hearing at first. But then we got like this dead silence period where there wasn't any tire screeching, nothing like that, from the highway, and I just hear it clack clack, clack 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 clack. It almost sounded like a wood maker, someone like a woodsman that was making something in a wooden shop, or like a like wooden toy or something like in a shop. Sounded like someone was just working, with like a wooden mallet hitting some piece of wood. And so there's really no other way to describe it as more than that. But I got closer to it, and then I ended up couldn't find my wife. I was just like, well, she's behind me somewhere, I think. So I get to this little valley, and I still hear it, and I just, as soon as I get close to it, though, it kind of stops and I don't hear any more knocks. And so I'm sitting there perched on this ledge, on top of this little creek valley thing. And I'm assuming that it's just a person. And I was like, listen, you got to get off your property. You're trespassing, basically get out of here. And as soon as I said that, I heard this like major like grunt snort thing, and it took off. Like it took off completely to the north, towards the highway. And I just heard branches and stuff kind of crackling, breaking, and then like my wife saw like these trees, the top of these trees just moving at that same time. And whatever it was, I scared it off, whatever. I don't know, but I had it at gunpoint because I was like, I'm not messing around. This is some giant hog or something like that, because that's kind of what I was guessing that it was going to be. And all I know is it was probably the scariest moment that I've ever had in my entire life, because like the hair on the back of my neck was standing on end. My adrenaline was pumping. I knew if it was a giant animal, if it was like a Bigfoot or something, my little 9 mil is not going to do much good. Um, so I probably would have been pretty defenseless had it been something like that, but I don't even know what it was. But anyways, I would say probably after about 30 minutes, I kind of calmed down a little bit from that adrenaline rush. I walked down to that valley, and there was really tall grass, like at least 1 to 2 feet tall. This plush green grass that's down by the river. I saw these tracks in it. And so I go and I look where these tracks are, and they go all the way to the turnpike, like all the way to the bridge, which is probably about a good 300 feet. And I noticed the size of these tracks were like they were definitely like, like human like footprints or whatever. And I put my foot up next to it, and this thing just like engulfed my foot. Like it was probably, I would say maybe 3 inches, maybe 4 inches bigger than my foot. And I have a size 12 boot. So, you're looking at 15, 16 inches possibly for this footprint. And it goes all the way to the highway. And I kind of was just staring there or standing there looking at him, just puzzled, like, what on earth was that, Did I encounter a Bigfoot? Did I not? Was it something else? I don't know. But all I know is I've never just felt like the presence of something so forceful in my entire life. And that's really the only way I can explain it. And I didn't smell anything like it. I didn't smell like a foul odor or a stench of any kind. Um, it was just like kind of like an oh crap, moment. And you get that pure adrenaline rush hit you like a ton of bricks, and everything just gets kind of really hot and just heated up. Uh, but that's really the only way I know how to describe it. But anyways, it was only a year ago. I mean, from this month today, or from this month, it's only been a year, just about, since that encounters happened. And I really have nothing else to pin it on other than some kind of Bigfoot creature or something like that. Yeah, it's just strange. I mean, we have a lot of deer that come on the property. I know what a deer snort sounds like, and it's really easy to tell. But just hearing those random knocks at first was just really kind of like troubling. Like, no one's supposed to be on our property. We don't have neighbors, okay? At least not within reach. I mean, our closest neighbor to the north is at least half a mile or more. And going to the east or going to the west, kind of where I heard these knocks come from. I mean, there's no neighbors there for miles. It's just nothing but forest and pasture land and stuff. So I don't know. It was really, really strange, but that's probably the only actual encounter I think I've ever had. Now I've heard stuff in the woods, and I've heard weird noises that I can't account for. But as far as having like a firsthand experience, with whatever this was, I just don't know. So, anyways, that's what I'm calling my Bigfoot encounter, because judging by the size of the prints that I saw, the way that this animal was, behaving, in front of me, I don't know what else what it really could have been. I mean, a hog wouldn't leave a print like that. Mountain lion, whatever, wouldn't leave a print like that. Nothing else grunts, like that, other than like a Sasquatch that I would think of. So yeah, that's my Bigfoot encounter, and it was pretty scary. It still kind of freaks me out a little bit to talk about it, just because it was a very kind of traumatic experience for me at that time. So, but anywho, that concludes our Bigfoot encounter, and I just want to thank you guys for watching A Story with Rory. This is my podcast, and I'm your host. And until then, see you next time, and we're out.